co-stream, or if you're watching the past broadcast, it's going to be my reaction to the Game Awards nominees for 2023. I'm sure there will be a hot debate whether or not certain titles do get nominated or don't get nominated. I'm sure there will be people angry in either direction. I have my own predictions in the description below. You can see how my predictions meted out. I'll actually say those here right at the start so that you guys know what I think. I'm going to end the previous stream. I did a stream about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, The Truth Comes Out. If you want to check that out, you can go check out that past broadcast. We broke down everything that transpired there. But right here at the beginning, I am going to tell you the 6 games that I believe get Game of the Year nominations: Baldur's Gate 3, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and Alan Wake 2. Now, the only title in that list that I am worried may actually get kind of bumped out is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I'm not seeing it on a lot of prediction lists. It may not make it, due to maybe Zelda pulling a lot of the Nintendo votes from outlets that maybe don't want to see them up there twice. But that is my 6 from when I did predictions a little while ago. And we'll see how close I am in my predictions. As you guys come over from the redirect, we already had a stream this morning. I need you to do me a favor as you guys pile in the door. Before you settle in with your coffee and your lurk and your listen, make sure you guys smash the like button. Thank you so much, Misery175, for ordering 5 bags of light roasts. I appreciate that so much. Man, that's a nice coffee order. If you guys have never ordered Reforge roasts before, be sure to try it out. We have a dark roast and a light roast. If you've never tried coffee before with balanced acidity, you should definitely try out Reforge roast. And I am going to gift the 5 members that I owe you. I'll put the daily goal right here down in the corner for you guys to see. Every 25 members, I give 5. We currently have 32, on our way to the next of 50. And I'm going to give 5. We have a 3,500 member goal, and we came up with an incentive in a member stream, and I literally can't remember what it was. I swear it was like a community game night or something. Can't remember what it was. You guys have unlocked so many member incentives. We had so many that you guys have unlocked. And there's the 5 that I owe. Goes to Jake, Austin, the Turk. Rockin' Robin decides to gift 1. Thank you so much, Rockin' Robin. Gifted a member. Tacking on there with me and getting us a little bit closer to the next milestone. If you guys get a gifted membership, thanks so much for being here. Welcome on in. Okay, we can have this discussion now, all right? Was 3,500 Kong? You guys already got Gollum and Kong. You guys unlocked everything last month, and I didn't come up with anything new for this month. I was like, I don't know what we should do. Like, I'm serious. Like, it was, you guys went so crazy at the end of October, I wasn't really ready and prepared with new incentives because I thought we were going to carry some over into the next month. Okay, so I know the big topic is Starfield, all right? There are people that think because there's going to be 6 nominations that automatically means Starfield's going to get to sneak in. There has been 6 Game of the Year nominations since like 2018 or 2019. So I don't think the fact that Geoff said there's going to be 6. Now, they did say there can be more than 6 if there's a tie. If there are 7 nominations, I think that's when we would likely see a Starfield nom. Personally, and I argued this in my Game Awards or my Game of the Year 2023 prediction stream, I argued that the 6 that I listed and are in the description below, and then I said, here's 6 honorable mentions. Those are 12 games that are more deserving. So I'm not going to be like angry and like rage out. I'm sure people will call it like pony salt or whatever. I mean, all the weird terms they come up with to talk about things like they're on a playground. But I will be just disappointed. I'll be like, man, there are so many deserving games this year. That game just wasn't one of them. It's just clear. The commercial reception, the score continues to drop on Steam. I just don't think it's deserved. A $5 tip from the Trill Troll. Still betting 20 gifted members that Starfield ain't getting nominated unless it's an award for the most amount of loading screens. So I'll get 20 gifteds if it gets nominated. Now you want me? Now I'm kind of rooting. Does anybody want to take Trill's action here? Yeah, Eugene has a tweet from Geoff Keighley. What do you think the most nominated game, most nominated publisher, biggest surprise, biggest snub? I think the most nominated game is going to be Baldur's Gate 3. It's going to be in like every freaking category. We already saw that at the Golden Joystick Awards. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is just going to absolutely crush. It's going to be in so many categories. So most nominated game will be Baldur's Gate. Which most nominated publisher, I don't know if there's going to be a specific publisher that gets more nominations than anybody else. Now, biggest surprise, I could see people being surprised by, let me think here. I think maybe Hi-Fi Rush might surprise people. I think people kind of forgot because it was so early in the year, but that doesn't take away from the game's quality, you know? Oh, the Reverse Sear Ribeye stream. That's right. You guys wanted another ketchup and steak stream at 3,500. That's what it was. You guys really want that again? I'll do it again. If you guys hit 3,500, I'll reverse sear. I can do mobile member streams now. I can. We might actually be able to do that. That could be kind of fun. We got to be really, really careful with how we film and do stuff in our home, though. I don't want to, we got to be super careful with that. I don't know. We might just have to do the stream in the studio where, I eat the steak and it's terrible. Hi-Fi Rush is not getting a Game of the Year nomination. It's way too much competition. Oh, no, I don't think Hi-Fi Rush will get a Game of the Year nomination. I think Hi-Fi Rush is going to be a surprise in that it's going to show up in a lot of categories and potentially walk away with a lot of awards. As far as surprises go, that's the only surprise I can think of. I think most games that are going to get nominated for categories and win, I don't think it's going to be a shock to anybody. No one's going to be like, oh my gosh, Baldur's Gate 3 got nominated. I think most nominations are going to be pretty straightforward. Aaron Jackson with a $1 super chat tip. Thank you so much, Aaron Jackson, for a super chat. I want to see Lono going Santa in the mall stream, and he has to sit on Santa's lap. Dude, I'm not doing that. William Lewis with a $5 super chat tip. What's your opinion of the Golden Joystick Awards? Most of the PlayStation fans and my Xbox versus PlayStation group say if it's not the Game Awards, Game of the Year doesn't mean anything. I think the biggest problem with the Golden Joystick Awards is the window of time to be nominated. I think it causes a lot of confusion. I think a lot of people spoke out of turn and acted like PlayStation got snubbed or whatever. And it's like, I just don't think they understood how, the window of nominations work. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people misfired, and I think it's because of how the window of time works. I think that's the biggest issue with the Golden Joystick Awards. Is well, okay, wait, when does the game have to come out? How does that work? And I think people got confused and thought that they oh yeah, certain games are not even getting nominated because the PlayStation's getting snubbed. And it's no, it's because the window for nominations is super freaking weird. I want to know which category Spider-Man 2 will get. I personally really enjoyed it, but I know some people had gripes. I watched Angry Joe's review, and he loved it. I thought his gripes, and it's his own personal opinion, but I didn't think his gripes were strong enough to give it an 8. I thought 8? He had such high praise, and then he's 8. And it was the Mary Jane missions and killing certain villains off screen. I actually agreed with him on that one. The Mary Jane missions didn't bother me. I get where he's coming from. You're playing a freaking comic book game, bro. We're playing a comic book game and we're going to get upset about, realism. Come on, dude. What are we doing here? I did find his commentary on them changing languages. That was hilarious. That is people absolutely breaking their own back. They were making Spanish. They made it nonsensical. Because people don't understand. People don't understand the role of language because they've apparently never studied it, and they think, well, we have to neutral all this. And when you do that, you make the language sound stupid. Like, it doesn't make any sense. There were people streaming it in their own native language, and they're like, what? They're like, why'd they say it that way? That doesn't make any sense. So, he sounded like he was regurgitating reviews from other reviews. Oh, no, I genuinely think that he thought the MJ missions were stupid. I don't think that was him. I don't think that was him, like, making up a criticism. I think he thought they were dumb. Like, and when you watch the footage of him playing them, he didn't like them. He thought they were stupid. You know? As someone who just finished Spider-Man 2, I think it's a solid 8.7 to an 8.9. I think it's a solid 9, an 8.5 to a 9. I think once you start dropping below there, I'm curious why. And I'm not saying you can't score it lower than that. I just want to know what you're taking points off for. And I thought what he took points off for, you know, maybe he's more specifically critical because of his own thoughts about what they did with the language and other things, you know. Because it made the flag situation kind of worse. It was like, you guys don't seem to care about this. So, in any case, I could see Spider-Man 2 taking Action Game of the Year. I don't think it can win Game of the Year. I believe it deserves a nomination, but I don't think anything can beat Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, they were changing how the language is supposed to work. Like, yeah, it's a language that's been around for thousands of years. It's basically people, it's an attempt to virtue signal, and you're breaking your own back. You're literally ruining a language. Like, it's just stupid. It's totally ignorant. They don't understand language is what it boils down to. They've never taken a course on language, its development. They probably don't know what the word etymology means, but they're like, yeah, man, we're gonna completely change the way this language functions because we don't want to upset anybody. And it's like, well, you just upset a ton of people because you made their language sound stupid. For me, it's an 8.5, but Starfield for me is an 8. So, I mean, you can feel free to question my personal judgment, I guess. No. I don't question your judgment. I always want it to be explained to me. Does that make sense? I'm not like, how dare you? I'm always like, oh, why'd you take points off? Does that make sense? I'm never going to be like, how dare you give that game that score? If you give a really bad game, like if somebody gives Redfall like an 8.5, I would like to know why. Right? It does make me question them a little bit. Like, I don't know if I can trust you, man. Everybody's giving this thing a pretty bad score. Like, if somebody walks out and gives Modern Warfare 3 a 9, I'm going to be like, what the frick? Huh? Based on what? Like, what scoring metric got you there? Like, how'd you get there? And if somebody gives a game that's getting, like, universal praise, they give it, like, a lower score, I'm like, wait, what? Why? Like, how did you get there? What'd you take points off for? You know? I've seen Joe hand out a lot of 7.5s and 8s, and I'm like, dude, Spider-Man 2 is well above a lot of the games that you've given 8s in the past. And that's why I felt like his criticisms were so small in comparison to all of his praise. He spends most of the video heaping praise on the game. As a comic book fan, as a video game fan, he heaps all this praise on. And then he gives it an 8. And I'm like, your criticisms were pretty minor. It didn't seem like your criticisms were that strong. He can give it whatever score he wants. I'm just not connecting the dots, is what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not connecting the dots here. You can give it a 7. I don't care. I just would like to know why. I want to see the logical thinking of, well, I took off points for this, and this. And it's like, those are pretty minor. In the grand scheme of things, like the MJ missions are incredibly minor. I saw some people calling for Jimquisition to lose their Metacritic approval, and to be honest, I can't argue against them. A 10 bomb from Skin Tight Salmon. Thank you so much. I don't know if you've ever gifted members before. That might be the first time. That's so kind of you. Your name is fun to say. Skin Tight Salmon. taking us super close to 50 members on the day. Every 25, I give 5. You guys continue to be super generous. Thank you so much for doing that. I give Spider-Man a solid 9, personally at least. I thought it was great, and it hits a lot of my personal check boxes. I do have my criticisms still, but they're nothing compared to the good parts. Yeah, I have my own criticisms. I have my own criticisms. I agree. I thought the MJ missions were stupid. They feel so forced. They do. They feel so forced. It's like, okay. And I agreed with Joe on this. It's like, if you wanted to have her doing a mission where she's like doing reporting and she's finding out some like information for Pete, okay? I'd have been totally fine with that. Yo, another 10 from Krayos. Thank you so much for 10 more gifted members and takes us to 53. That's an Agent of Chaos. You just push past the 50 mark. Thank you so much for doing that. They just felt super forced. It's like, listen, if you want to have MJ doing like investigative work and she's using a stun gun on like a security guard in a museum or something, or she uses her stun gun on a couple of like low-level henchmen who get like left behind to keep an eye on some, I don't know, some crates or some boxes or some shipping manifests, and she's helping piece together some kind of an investigation or something, I'd have been totally okay with that. Brother, she's running around with a stun gun, taking out, like, ruthless professional level hunters. She's taking out symbiote mutant people. It's kind of like, come on. What are we doing here? This is dumb. It doesn't translate. It was almost like they said, we need MJ missions, but we need them to play better. Right? We need him to play better. We can't have him be so bad. So instead of doing MJ missions where like everybody's kind of annoyed, they were like, well, we're going to do MJ missions where she can stop everybody. Like they're calling her Mary Jane Wick, you know, like John Wick. Like, come on. All right, here, I'm going to do the 5 members that I owe you instead of keeping a tally. So every milestone we hit, I'm going to gift the 5 that I owe. So that's for hitting 50. If you guys hit 75, I'll do another 5. I think for MJ, they should have just kept focused on her journalism and intelligence. She could have been a great background side character. Exactly. She's smart. She's savvy. She's good at investigative reporting, and she's good at finding things. She's good at looking for things that Spider-Man wouldn't know to look for or wouldn't think about, right? Because she's thinking like a journalist. That would have been cool. But instead, it's like, well, no, she has to go through and fight all these guys with a stun gun. I was like, come on. To me, it's a minor criticism, but it's one that I'll always echo with people. It's like, this just doesn't feel like it was necessary. The dev said he doesn't care what gamers think of MJ. That's clear. They made her missions completely silly. Like, I said this in response to Angry Joe. I was like, it is a comic book game, so we can have some unrealistic situations, but it just comes across as super silly. It does not come across as like, oh, she's really strong and can handle herself. It comes across as silly and contrived. You know? It comes across as silly and contrived. It's like, you could have had her sneaking around the bases. She could have been sneaking around shipyards and truck yards and factories, gathering intel and giving it to Pete and Miles to be like, I think I know where their next big hit is, or I think I know where they're going. And that would have really helped, you know, Pete and Miles, you know, go to their next big fight or whatever. I'm going to go back to Arkham Knight. Those games believe the player wouldn't get sick of playing as Batman for the sake of pacing. No. Here's why I would be okay with slower-paced MJ missions, because in this game, I feel like they did more of like a Naughty Dog style of storytelling. You're like riding on a bike with your buddy. You're walking around a school. You're taking a trip down memory lane. You're walking around your house, right? You're walking around as Miles. I felt like it was more of this injection of a Naughty Dog style of storytelling. It wasn't like a Naughty Dog game. It just felt inspired by how Naughty Dog will slow things down, okay? And that's why it's like MJ didn't need to be like this. I know why they did it. It was because we didn't like the MJ missions in the first game because there was this huge record scratch and it was really slow. So, but to me, it's like either do them like that or don't do them at all, because now it's like, oh, okay. You know. Change of topic. Thoughts on the new Garfield trailer? Nah, we're good. I don't like when people come in and try to do that. That feels kind of hijacky. You know? That feels kind of hijacky. Like you're just trying to hijack things and be disruptive. We're having a great conversation. You don't have to like it. You don't have to even join in. MJ missions were way better in the second game. I had fun with them, but I'm saying it's totally fair to criticize them. Does that make sense? I'm not saying that they like ruined the game for me or I'm lowering my score. I had fun with them, but I definitely see why. Like, yeah, it's totally fair to criticize these. These are kind of ludicrous. The second act was phenomenal. The third was good, but the second was so strong, the third was never going to top it. I thought the MJ missions were fun. It was a nice change of pace. Spider-Man story missions always devolved into beat up 20 guys. At least the MJ missions were something different. I thought they did a good job with adding new enemy types to the fights. I thought the most challenging fights, or the most fun, I would say, that got high pressure were the ones where you have to put like a bomb on the thing and protect it, and it counts up, and it gets kind of crazy. I thought those were the most fun. You've really got to manage crowd control. You got to manage not getting overwhelmed because it gets a little crazy. I thought those were the most fun. Snub Starfield, let's go. I think it will be perfectly legitimate and right for Starfield to not get a Game of the Year nomination. I don't believe it's deserving. I don't see anything in that game that is worthy to stand tall with all the other big games that came out this year. It was so much directly lifted from what a Fallout 5 would look like. Reforge hates Garfield. Time for a YouTube video. That's right. Nominations for most anticipated. Squadron 42. No, we might. Someone said another one the other day for most anticipated, and I kind of agreed with them, and now I can't remember what it was. We've been talking about so many games this morning, it's like completely left my brain. The Hunter bases were really fun. Yeah, the Hunter bases were pretty challenging. That was actually, I liked how they did that. I genuinely felt motivated to go stealth in the Hunter bases. You know? Lotus says the same about Jedi Survivor. What did I say about Jedi Survivor? Hey guys, do me a favor. Holy moly, there's a lot of people here. Smash that like button for me. We have almost 800 people. Let's set our sights on 300 likes. Take a second. You might have to minimize chat on mobile. Give that like button a press. My money for anticipated is Kill the Justice League and Wolverine. Yeah, Starfield will get a music nomination. I think that's fair. They'll get an RPG nomination, but they'll lose to Baldur's Gate 3. Why is everybody posting names? For most anticipated. Modern Warfare 4. Bloodborne 2. I don't think so. Black Myth is my most anticipated. Oh, GTA 6. Yeah, if GTA 6 is on the list. I don't think GTA 6 will be on the list because they haven't officially announced it yet. I believe their official announcement will be at the Game Awards. Yo, another gifted member comes in from Joker Quinn, taking us to 54. One away from the layup. Yeah, the music category is going to be tough because Final Fantasy 16 had amazing music. Lies of P had amazing music. It's a tough year, dude. It's a super tough year. It's a tough year to try to win any category, man. It could honestly go to any one of those. I wouldn't have a problem with Starfield winning on music or Final Fantasy 16 or Lies of P. Yeah, Hogwarts had really good music. Good night. Yeah, such a great year. William Lewis with the layup. There it is. We'll see if anybody takes the 20 bomb bait to smack it home to 75. There are some big boys in chat. You better watch out, guys. Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush had some good music. DK Bager, ever faithfully gifting singles, sets up a 20 bomb Agent of Chaos. Thank you so much, DK Bager. You could call this the announcement. I don't think, well, Sven, the problem is if Geoff Keighley put GTA 6 in a vote for most anticipated, that would be like him passively announcing the game. I don't think that they would do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? If GTA 6 is announced at the Game Awards, it'll overshadow the rest of the reveals. They'll do it at the very end, I would think. It'll be there one more thing. Keighley will be like, oh yeah, we got one more thing. And it'll fade to black. And then the Rockstar logo will come up and everybody's going to lose their frickin' mind. Remnant 2 for best co-op game. Phantom Liberty will win the category for add-on content. For ongoing game support, I would imagine that'll go to Fortnite because of what they pulled off with the OG map and the sudden surge of players. If not them, No Man's Sky. I think somebody messed up and posted them early. Is that a bait? Did they accidentally post it early? Are you serious? If that's true, then I freaking nailed it. If that's true, then I freaking nailed it. We'll have to wait and see if that's a fake out or not. That could be a fake out. Cyberpunk deserves it. I definitely think Phantom Liberty deserves it for sure. For sure. Is Starfield not in any category? We will know very, very soon. Let's watch this together. And let's see how it turns out. What I just saw could have been a fake out. Put me on game. Does the Game Awards operate like the Grammys, where there's a committee? There's 120 global outlets that get to vote. And then that's what determines the nominations as well as the winners. Imagine if the PS5 Pro was announced, just like the Series X was announced at the Game Awards. No, they won't announce the PS5 Pro until the middle of next year. They want to keep those sales going, buddy. They're trying to hit 25 million this year. Last thing they're going to do right before the holidays is announce a new PlayStation 5. That would be absolutely disastrous from a marketing perspective. All right, here we go. They're trying to hit 25 million PlayStation 5 sold this year alone. And if they did that right before Christmas, that would be incredibly silly. Guys, 1 minute to go. We'll see if I nailed my Game of the Year nomination predictions. Do me a favor. Smash that like button. There's almost 900 people here. We should have so many likes on this video. If you want to join in the conversation, we'll do our reaction, discussion, and debate after the show. So hit subscribe and hit the bell button so you can talk in my chat. Thank you so much, William Lewis, for the $2 Super Chat tip. We appreciate that, but we're not trying to draw attention to that. We're trying to watch this instead, brother. Good night. We are also 20 members away from the next milestone. I've gifted you guys 10 members already today. I'll have to gift another 5 if we hit 75. Feel free to keep that number going through the show. 15 seconds to go. Here we go.
There have been so many great games in 2023, and on Thursday, December 7th, we will celebrate the best of the best at the 10th Annual Game Awards, streaming live everywhere from right here at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles. I'm Geoff Keighley, and it is finally time to reveal the nominees across more than 30 categories. And to help select the winners, you can vote in all categories starting now at thegameawards.com. This is going to be a very special TGA filled with new game announcements from teams around the world, and in the coming weeks we will have much more to share. But now, I am honored to get to the task at hand. Here are the nominees as selected by our voting jury for the Game Awards 2023.
Yeah, the volume's low. I pushed it.
The nominees are Ben Starr as Clive, Final Fantasy XVI.
That's our boy!
Cameron Monaghan as Cal Kestis, Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
That's good.
Idris Elba as Solomon Reed, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty.
Yes.
Melanie Liebert as Saga Anderson, Alan Wake 2. Neil Newbon as Astarion, Baldur's Gate 3.
Great year.
And Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker,
our
Marvel's
boy.
Spider-Man 2. For
what a great year, dude.
Game, the nominees are
That's a lot of
Apex
talent.
Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Genshin Impact.
No.
In the category of Best Multiplayer, presented by Discord, Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Baldur's Gate.
The nominees for Best Art Direction are Alan Wake 2,
Yes.
Hi-Fi Rush,
Yes.
Lies of P,
Yes.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder,
Yes.
and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Surprise, no Hogwarts.
For
I
Best
thought
Score
Hogwarts
and
was going to
Music,
be in
the
there.
nominees are Alan Wake 2, composer Petri Alonko, Baldur's Gate 3, composer Borislav Slavov, Final Fantasy XVI, composer Masayoshi Soken, Hi-Fi Rush, audio director Shuichi
We
Kobori,
said that. We said that one.
and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, composed by Nintendo Sound Team.
No Starfield.
The Best Audio Design nominees are Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4 will
Best
take that.
Adaptation recognizes excellence in authentically creating Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Monster Hunter Now, and Terra Nil. Best Community Support acknowledges a game for exceptional support, transparency, and responsiveness to players. The nominees are Baldur's Gate 3,
It'll win.
Cyberpunk 2077,
Agreed.
Destiny 2,
No.
Final Fantasy XIV,
Yes.
and No Man's Sky.
Yes!
Okay, now it's time for Best Debut Indie Game, which recognizes a development team that hasn't been on the TGA stage before. In fact, these teams published their first game in 2023. The nominees are Cocoon,
Oh.
Dredge,
Oh.
Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder.
Come on,
The
Viewfinder!
Best VR/AR game
Come
the
on,
nominees
baby!
are Gran Turismo 7,
No.
Humanity,
No.
Horizon Call
Yes,
of the Mountain,
that'll win.
Resident Evil
Ah,
Village
shoot!
VR mode,
Never mind.
and Synapse.
Oh, come on.
Content Creator
Synapse
of the
was so
Year,
good.
the
It's going to go to
nominees
Resident
are
Evil.
Iron Mouse, People Make Games, Whackity, Spreen, and Cypher PK. What's your most anticipated upcoming game? Remember, this has to be a game that's officially announced.
There you go.
The nominees are
Can't beat GTA 6.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
That'll win.
Hades 2,
Oh, maybe not.
Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8.
That's a tough one.
Your nominees for Best Action Adventure Game are Alan Wake 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2,
That'll win.
Resident Evil 4,
Oh, shoot.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. For
Dadgummit.
Best Role-Playing Game, the jury selected
Spider-Man won't win
Baldur's
that
Gate
one.
3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, and Starfield.
There it is. You made
In
it,
the category
Starfield.
of
You
Best
got one.
Fighting Game, the nominees are God of Rock, Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery, and Street Fighter
There's
6.
no way anybody takes the
nominees for
RPG
Best Action
category
Game
away from
are
Baldur's Gate 3.
Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2,
What?
Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2.
Good for Remnant.
Innovation and accessibility celebrates games that are making our industry available and enjoyable to more people. Selected by a special committee of accessibility experts, this year's nominees for innovation and accessibility are Diablo 4,
This is a good category.
Forza Motorsport, Hi-Fi Rush,
Forza Motorsport got a
Marvel's
nom.
Spider-Man 2,
They did it.
Mortal Kombat 1, and Street Fighter 6. Next up, Best Family Game.
Here we go.
Nominees are Disney Illusion Island, Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Super Mario win that
The
one.
Best Sim Strategy nominees are Advance Wars 1 and 2, Reboot Camp, Cities Skylines 2,
No.
Company of Heroes 3, Fire Emblem Engage, and Pikmin 4.
City Skylines 2 deserves nothing. It's in terrible
Nominated
state.
for Best Sports Racing, EA Sports FC 24, F1 23, Forza Motorsport, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, and The Crew Motorfest.
I wouldn't be surprised if the
Now
crew
we'll
wins
look at
that
our
one.
esports categories, starting with Best Esports Game. The nominees are Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, PUBG Mobile, and Valorant.
Counter-Strike 2 will
Your
win
Best
that.
Esport Athlete nominees are Demon 1, Faker, Hydra, Imperial Hal, Ruler, and Zywoo.
I would love it if one of those guys' name was just like Dave.
Evil Geniuses Valorant, Fnatic Valorant, Game & Gladiators Dota 2,
They're like Hunter,
Gaming, League
the
of
Master,
Legends,
Wizard
and
2020.
Vitality Counter-Strike.
Dave.
The Best Esports Coach nominees are Potter, Homie, Gumba, Ecstasy, and Zonic. And finally, the nominees for Best Esports Event are 2023 League of Legends World Championship, Blast TV Paris Major 2023, EVO 2023, the International Dota 2 Championships 2023, and Valorant Champions 2023. All right, you ready? It's time for our final two categories. Best Game Direction, which recognizes extraordinary creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. This year's nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
There you go.
Okay, finally, on
Let's see.
behalf of the jury,
Did I nail my
announce
6?
the 6 nominees selected for outstanding creative and technical excellence. The nominees for Game of the Year
Let's
at
keep
the
track.
Game Awards
Let's keep
are
track.
Alan Wake 2,
Yep,
developed
got
by
that one.
Remedy Entertainment, Baldur's Gate 3 from
Yep.
Larian Studios, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 from
Yep.
Insomniac Games, Resident Evil 4 from Capcom,
Yep.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder from Nintendo,
Yep. 5 out of 6.
and The Legend of
6
Zelda
out of 6,
Tears
baby.
of the Kingdom from Nintendo. And there
6
you
out of
have
6.
it. Those are your nominees for the Game Awards. A highly competitive year for sure, but who will come out on top? Well, you can help select the winners by voting now at thegameawards.com and on our Discord server. I hope you can join us live on Thursday, December 7th for the Game Awards. The TGA Orchestra will be back on this very stage, and as always, we'll pay tribute to our Game of the Year nominees. And yes, you can expect lots of news and updates on what's ahead for games in 2024 and beyond. So lock in your votes and get ready to celebrate 10 years of the Game Awards. We'll see you live on Thursday, December 7th.
Listen, I tried to tell y'all that Hogwarts was going to struggle. I tried to tell y'all, I said I could see Hogwarts getting a art direction because of all the work they put into the castle. But I tried to tell y'all, I was like, there's no way Hogwarts gets up on the Game of the Year podium. There's no freaking way. I'm going to go to their website and I'm going to vote right now with you guys, right? I'm going to vote with you guys. So let us do that now. Let me pull up their website. Hopefully it's not crashing. All right. I got a gray screen. All right, here we go. All right, wait. I might have to... wait. Okay, it signed me in. Sometimes these websites, like, show your name. Okay. Nominees. Vote now. Hogwarts got yeeted. I tried to tell you guys. I was like, dude, I don't think Hogwarts has what it takes to go up against some of these other titles. They're just too dadgum big. I nailed it, man. 6 out of 6 on the Game of the Year nominations. I told y'all. And what did I say? I said Starfield could show up in RPG and the original score. And it got RPG, but it's going to lose to Baldur's Gate 3. I can't vote, dude. Their website is like having a problem. Everybody's going. Big journalists hate Hogwarts. Hogwarts just did. You have to understand something, though. It's a voting of like 120 global outlets, and those outlets have already given their review scores. Like, Hogwarts didn't land high enough. I tried to tell y'all, I said, this is a mathematical prediction. You just look at where games landed, and it's like, Hogwarts won't get up there. Starfield won't get up there. Told you RE4 Remake had come and gone. Oh, yeah, you were told that the RE4 Remake had come and gone. That's right. Yeah, I literally cannot vote. It's just sitting here. I want to vote on screen with you guys. Don't go anywhere. I've got it right here. I am trying to vote. And I literally... Oh, there we go. Oh, it just refreshed it. I hope Jeff has his defense shield ready. Thank you so much for 4 months, P-Dub H-Town. Okay, here we go. Start voting. Okay. Game of the Year. 6 out of 6. There they are. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, we all know that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win. I am going to pick my own personal game of the year, which is Spider-Man 2, okay? I have enjoyed this game the most this year. I really want to finish Alan Wake 2, but for where I am right now in my own personal life, I can only complete so many games. Like, I'm extremely busy. Spider-Man 2 captivated me. It's the kind of games that I like. My bias is that I like open world action games, and this one definitely plucked those heartstrings. So I'm voting for Spider-Man 2. That is my vote. It will not win, and that's okay. It will not win, and that's okay. All right, let's keep going. Category number 2, Best Game Direction. To be fair, I'm actually going to give this to Alan Wake 2, right? I'm actually going to give this to Alan Wake 2 because I believe that awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovative in game design. And I've seen so much. That's one of the reasons I want to keep playing this game, because like I've seen so much that they put into it. Even the opening couple of hours that I've played, I just think it's phenomenal. It's so well put together. It's super, super creative. I got to give it to Alan Wake 2. Spider-Man 2 is absolutely brilliant, but in my estimation, Alan Wake 2 is very, very special, and they achieved something great. Now, Best Narrative. This one's tough because I haven't played through every single one of these games, so I can only go based off of my own experience. I actually think Final Fantasy 16 has the best narrative out of the games. I finished Phantom Liberty. I finished Spider-Man. I have not finished 16, but 16 still, to me, feels like a frickin' like Game of Thrones HBO show. I absolutely love it. I could be compelled that Alan Wake 2 will win this. I could be compelled that might happen. I think it's going to be hard to beat Baldur's Gate 3 in any category that it shows up in. But for my vote, my own personal experience and my own personal opinion, Final Fantasy 16 story is absolutely phenomenal. I was hooked from the demo. Excellent characters, excellent pacing, the cutscenes, all of it. Best art direction. Fantastic category here with a fantastic lineup of games. Outstanding creative and or technical achievement. For my judgment of what I've played and seen, this is basically a tie between Lies of P and Alan Wake 2. Hi-Fi Rush could run away with this because of the creative and or technical achievement, because of what they had to do with like the rhythm mechanics. But I definitely think this one's going to go to Alan Wake 2. I think Alan Wake 2 will steal this one. Maybe not steal this one. It'll take it. But I'm going to give it to Lies of P, because I think Lies of P had to do something that's more challenging. It had to take an existing IP that looks nothing like this. It had to take the world of Pinocchio and reimagine it. And I think that's deserving of an award, because you have to work within the confines of something that's pre-existing, which I think is more challenging. Zelda, no way. Mario, maybe. But I think these three here are your three frontrunners, and I'm going to vote for Lies of P. For those reasons, the fact that they took a pre-existing piece of property world and they brought it into just this amazingly dark, gothic, macabre setting, and it's just awesome. Absolutely awesome. That profile pic, though, that's a good-looking dude up there. Okay. Hang on. It didn't advance me. Let's try. Okay, best score and music. Once again, I think this is going to be an incredibly tough category. I actually thought Starfield was going to land in this category. My personal estimation is that I thought Starfield's soundtrack was better than Zelda's. I don't think Zelda's music is that great, personally. Personal opinion. This is just my opinion, but I actually think Starfield deserves to be up here over Zelda. But again, I can only go based off of my experience. I think the original score of Final Fantasy 16 is absolutely phenomenal, and I bet it could even win this category. So I'm going to vote for this one. This one's a toss-up, but I think Final Fantasy gets this award. It's an absolutely incredible soundtrack. Oh, server's having a problem. Try again in 30 seconds. All right, we're going to wait. Final Fantasy 16, no debate. Alan Wake 2 songs were amazing. I think the soundtrack category is a bit of a toss-up. Again, I think Starfield deserves to be in that category more than Starfield. Somebody with the first name starting with the letter H ordered 2 bags of light roast. Thank you so much for doing that. I greatly appreciate that. Enjoy the coffee. Thank you so much. All right, it's been 30 seconds. Let's oops. No, reload. Okay, hang on a second. Yeah, it's trying to get me to best audio design. I can't get in. You just need to refresh. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, best audio design. Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel's Spider-Man, and Resident Evil. This is a really tough category because I think they all deserve it. I really do. I think they all deserve it for different reasons. So I'm just going to totally let my bias dictate it here, and I'm going to vote for Spidey because I thought the way they captured the crunch, the punch, the electricity, Venom, how he moves and sounds crashing through stuff, just really, really good. It really, really was, I think, excellent. It's really, really hard to pick one here. I honestly wouldn't be upset at anybody that wins this category. I think it'd be great for Hi-Fi Rush to get this category personally. That'd be a really nice win for them. But again, I'm going with the game that I like the most here. Next category is... Oh, hang on. Oh, there it goes. Best performance. Best performance. Oh, my gosh. I don't even know, dudes. I truly don't even know. Oh my gosh. Ben Starr was fantastic, and he's also just so handsome. And Cameron was so good in Jedi. Idris was really, really good in Phantom Liberty. I've not played enough of Alan Wake 2, but what I've seen of Melanie's performance, I thought it was excellent. Neil Newborn, and then Yuri in Spider-Man. I think Yuri really, really deserves some praise for Spider-Man 2 because he had to do so much range with a character that I think is difficult to create range with. Peter Parker having to be angry and mean and unkind and aggressive. I think that's really, really difficult to do with a character like that. Man, this is tough, dude. I'm going to go with Ben because I want to snuggle him a little bit. You know, maybe he'll see this clip and, you know, we can go on a date or something. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Ben. This is a tough category. Anybody that wins this category, I'll be excited for. They all deserve it. This is literally like, this feels like a 6-way tie. This is just ridiculous how good this year is. Now, innovation and accessibility, it's tough for me to vote on this because I am not somebody that needs this, but recognizing software and our hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an ever wider audience. Now, this one's tough because in the past, you could actually measure this by who did the most. I don't actually know. I've not looked into any of these games in this category because I myself don't need those features. That doesn't mean they're not important, but it means I don't have much to say here. So I don't even know. Forza should win this. Forza Motorsport. I think the racing games in general, I think, try to do a lot in this category, but how in the world is Final Fantasy 16 not in this? Diablo 4 does not deserve it. Just got here. Starfield didn't get a nom. Starfield got one nomination for Best RPG. It's likely going to get absolutely shellacked by Baldur's Gate 3. I don't think anybody could argue that Baldur's Gate 3 isn't one of the best RPGs ever made. Like, within the realm of RPGs and what they offer, like, it isn't really a discussion. Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't really have any competition in that category. It just doesn't. It really doesn't. Forza probably wins this. I don't have a problem voting for Forza if they made good strides in this category. I think that's worthy of, you know, praise, celebration, admiration, and recognition. I think that's totally fine. To recognize games that are trying to do this, especially as it's becoming a growing sense of awareness that we're trying to have in general as a gaming community. So I'm just going to actually give Forza a click because I don't have a dog in this fight. Because I don't need the features or the controllers. So anybody that does, hopefully these games have done good work for you. Okay, games for impact. I'm 100% going to vote my bias here. My daughter played Chia and she loved it, and I'm going to vote for that one. I'm not familiar with these other games, so this is an easy vote for me. I'm actually really pleased that Hi-Fi Rush is in a bunch of categories. My daughter absolutely loved Hi-Fi Rush, and she beat it pretty much all by herself. Best ongoing game is, in my estimation, probably a 3-way race between Final Fantasy, Cyberpunk, and Fortnite. Just how far they brought Cyberpunk is worthy of praise. The overwhelming celebration and positivity surrounding Final Fantasy. But what Fortnite did with the OG map and the number of players that came surging back, I'm actually going to give this one to Fortnite, and I actually think Fortnite will win this category because of the number of people that came surging back was otherworldly. So I think Fortnite's going to take that category. Best community support. Destiny 2, absolutely not. This is an insult to even have them up here after what Bungie has done with their community management team, disengaging from the community, spreading toxicity, and then missing their targets, and then laying people off in a terrible way. This is disgusting. This is honestly a joke that they're even up here. But to everybody else, I'm happy if anybody wins this one. No Man's Sky, crushing it. Final Fantasy, crushing it. I mean, Cyberpunk, again, similar to what we just said a moment ago. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win this because of what the early access has led to. The years of early access and working with the community to get the game to where it was. I believe Baldur's Gate 3 not only deserves it, but they will win this category. I love No Man's Sky and would love for them to win, but I think Baldur's Gate deserves this one. Just from everything we've seen from community and the response and how excited everybody was. The response is amazing. Now, best independent game, I'm going to vote for Viewfinder because I beat this game and loved it. It's special to me. I had a really, really just cool and unique experience with it, and I just appreciate everybody that was there for that. This guy says, for the first time, I actually agree with 30. I say thank you to this guy. He was commenting on one of my videos. So I am going to vote for Viewfinder. I know from everything I've sort of seen and how things have trended, Sea of Stars is going to win this category, and that's totally fine. I am totally fine with that. But I'm going to vote for Viewfinder because the game is beautiful, and it somehow subversively spoke to me in a way that video games rarely do. I cried in Hellblade. I cry in Hellblade virtually every time I've ever played it. I've gotten a little bit emotional playing Ori. I've gotten emotional playing Ghost of Tsushima. I cried playing Ghost of Tsushima at least once. And Viewfinder is one of the very few games that has that notch on its belt. It actually made me cry, which is insane because that's not the kind of game you would expect it to be. And it wasn't expected at all. Just a beautiful game. Absolutely beautiful game. Best debut indie, I am once again going to vote for Viewfinder. I actually think Viewfinder could win this, but it will likely end up landing on Cocoon. I think Cocoon will take this category of best debut indie from everything I've seen and read. Dave the Diver couldn't be less independent. It isn't just a subsidiary of a big corporation. Mint Rock is a division of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Oh, well, that's a joke that it's up there then. Best mobile game. I have no idea. I'm just going to vote for Final Fantasy so that, you know, I don't really have a dog in this fight. Exactly. I'm trying to respond to some of the Call of Duty comments from the earlier stream. Let's keep going. Okay, website's having a little bit of trouble again. Let's try again. I'm like giving it time. Okay. Let's try this button instead. Try again. Here we go. Best VR AR. I was really confident that Horizon Call of the Mountain was going to win this. Personally, since it's built from the ground up as a VR game, I believe it should get a leg up in the contest, but it's probably going to go to Resident Evil Village VR. Resident Evil is just really tough to compete with. This game was absolutely beautiful, very stunning, very good art design. So Resident Evil's going to take this, right? I was really hoping Synapse would be like a surprise win this year. The stuff they did with the eye tracking was really, really cool. Personally, I think as a complete package, I think Call of the Mountain, my main criticism was it was way too much climbing, but graphically, this is such a standout game for VR. So I'm going to vote for Synapse, though, because I have beaten this game. I've gotten really far in it. I think this game is magnificent. It's such a creative game. It would be awesome if this thing stole the show, but it likely is going to... Resident Evil will likely win this category. Okay? If Armored Core doesn't win the next one, I'm going to be upset. Best action game, Armored Core, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Remnant 2. I honestly don't feel like this is even a fair competition. I feel like Armored Core stands so much taller than these other titles. Not to diminish the other four. These are all unique and creative in their own ways. Dead Island 2 has actually had a lot of people saying, like, don't sleep on it. It's actually quite good. Ghost Runner 2, such an honor for them to be up here. I know that's a smaller, I know 505 is behind it, but I'm pretty sure the team behind it is a smaller team. Hi-Fi Rush, this is great for them to be up here again. Hi-Fi Rush, I really hope they end up getting to make a sequel because of how much praise that game has received. Remnant 2, it's really, really, again, cool to see a game like this up here. But I don't think anybody stands tall enough to go up against Armored Core. The level of customization in Armored Core, this game is FromSoft is just so hard to beat, dude. I'm gonna vote Armored Core. This is more of a prediction. I've not played any of these games at length. I played all of them in pieces. I played a little bit of Armored Core, a little bit of Remnant 2, a little bit of Hi-Fi Rush. My schedule just does not allow for me to play the absolute armada of games this year. But I do think based on industry trends, I don't think you're going to be able to beat Armored Core. It's just really hard to beat FromSoft. Now, best action adventure. Sadly, as soon as Zelda enters the picture, I think this category becomes really, really tough to win. I think because it says this, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, okay? I think this makes some of these just fall right off the table, personally. So, as far as combat and traversal and puzzle solving, I think Spider-Man is standing really tall in combat and traversal. Now, puzzle solving, I think Alan Wake's going to come in and say, excuse me, and The Legend of Zelda is going to come in and say, excuse me, we're really, really good at this. Like, our puzzles and our puzzle-solving elements are super dope. And Alan Wake 2 could say that as well. Now, as far as combat goes, I don't know if it's necessarily fair to recognize Zelda for combat. So much is imported from the first game, but I think what they would say is, like, the weapon fusing was so cool. Traversal, it's hard to compete with Zelda because of Ultra Hand and how big they made the map and all of the freedom that they gave you. That makes it really, really tough to beat Zelda. I think Zelda wins this one, but I'm going to vote my heart. I'm going to vote my heart. I think the traversal and the combat in Spider-Man makes it one of, if not the best, open-world action-adventure games I have ever played. I absolutely love it. The combat has so much depth. The traversal is so awesome. I've never played a game with traversal like this. It's where my heart goes. That's my vote. I think Zelda wins that. Best RPG. Listen, we all know who's winning this, okay? There's no way Baldur's Gate 3 loses this category. There's no way. There is absolutely no way. There's no way Baldur's Gate 3 loses the best RPG category, okay? Rich player customization, progression, right? Now, this includes massive multiplayer experiences. Nothing down here is in that, okay? So, Baldur's Gate 3 is untouchable in this category, okay? I don't even think Final Fantasy 16 is heavy on the RPG elements. It isn't. It's rather light on the RPG elements. So, I actually think Final Fantasy would potentially lose to Starfield in this category because there is more of an RPG element to Starfield versus Final Fantasy. So Baldur's Gate wins this hands down. No doubt in my mind, right? No doubt in my mind. This is Baldur's Gate 3. It's their category. Lies being on that list is weird. They classify those games as RPGs because of the level of customization and stats that you have. You can really, really customize your character. Richard Rodriguez with the $2 super chat. Just in, Starfield rightfully excluded. I think all is right with the world. Starfield landed where I said that it might land. I was like, it's either going to get soundtrack or RPG. And it got RPG and nothing else. And I think that's the right call. That's exactly where it belongs. It belongs in RPG and losing to Baldur's Gate 3. Best fighting game? It's obviously probably between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. I don't play fighting games, so I don't even know. If I had to guess based off of what I've seen and the response and the scores, I think Street Fighter gets this one. Just based on what I've seen. I think Street Fighter wins this category. I don't think anybody would be like surprised if Street Fighter or if Mortal Kombat wins, but I'm pretty sure based on scores and reception, Street Fighter's outpacing Mortal Kombat. So if Lona doesn't choose Mortal Kombat, I'm concerned. Well, I'll be honest with you. I grew up playing Street Fighter and not Mortal Kombat. I have more of a nostalgic attachment to Street Fighter. You can skip votes. I still want to vote. If I don't have experience, I'm just going to vote for what I think will win. Right? I think Street Fighter wins this category just based on what I've seen. So, and I have more of a nostalgic attachment to Street Fighter. I grew up playing Street Fighter, Super Street Fighter. I loved Fei Long, and then we transitioned into Killer Instinct. So, okay, best family game. This is likely going to come down to a three-way battle between Super Mario, Pikmin 4, and Party Animals. I'm obviously going to vote Super Mario. I love it. It's fun. My wife and I are slowly playing through it. It's just a joy, a real treat. This one, I think, will also be the winner. It's really hard to compete with Mario when it's a family game. Super hard. And they took the classic Mario, they honored it, and they let you play with up to 4 people. Like, Mario's going to win this category more than likely. Okay. Best sim strategy. City Skylines is in such a bad state. It shouldn't be up here. This is really shocking given how many people have just complained about just the utter, half-baked status of that game's launch. So I actually think this one's going to end up going to probably Pikmin 4. I'm literally basing this off of scores. I would base this off of scores. Pikmin 4 landed pretty high this year. Company of Heroes 3. Yeah, again, this is a harder category for me to weigh in. I don't play sim and strategy games. So I would base off the scores and what we looked at when we made our predictions and honorable mentions. Pikmin 4 is probably going to win this category. You can do local co-op. Best sports and racing. Woo, that's hot. Oh, out of here. Okay. My wife brought me my lunch. The Crew Motorfest. I'm going to vote Hot Wheels out of protest. I don't have a dog in this fight. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Forza Motorsport gets this one. The user score for Forza Motorsport's terrible, but the reviews from the outlets were all good, which is not surprising. Not surprising. Wow, there's this giant disparity between what the review outlets think and what the users think. Isn't that weird? I'm going to vote for the crew. I don't have a dog in this fight, but Crew Motorforce is actually good. I saw a lot of good response to it. Now, best multiplayer, Diablo 4? Absolutely not. Baldur's Gate 3, I don't know. It might not win this category, right? Because it's talking about multiplayer gameplay and design. Like, I don't know. It's got so much in its corner because it's such a strong title this year. I bet you Mario wins this one. Oh, Avatar's Gone Gold? Nice. I think Mario's going to win this one. Again, I think as soon as Mario's in the running, it's a tough category. Baldur's Gate 3 co-op enjoyers. I just saw a lot of negative feedback about the split screen. Like it doesn't work all that well on console, so you're going to have a lot of people that reviewed the game on console not really pulling for it to win. Like, obviously, you don't need to play split screen. I'm just saying that experience is likely going to sour people's opinions of it a little bit. I think it's really hard to beat Mario in any category that he shows up in, so I feel like Mario's going to win this one. Best adaptation. I honestly think both my vote and the winner will be Mario. Now, The Last of Us may come in and steal it. I don't think Twisted Metal stands a chance. I don't think Gran Turismo stands a chance. I didn't watch Castlevania. This thing could come out of nowhere, right? I mean, sometimes these, like when Edge Runners was super popular, like this could be one of those things just like comes out of nowhere and is like crazy popular. But I really think Mario's taking this. I absolutely loved it. So many Easter eggs, such a joy. Me, my family, and friends of ours all went and saw this. It was just absolutely awesome. I wouldn't have a problem if Last of Us wins, though, because I loved this as well. But I'm going to vote for Mario. I think it's also the winner. You guys think Last of Us is going to take that one? Most anticipated game. Probably going to go to Final Fantasy. This is probably going to go to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But I'm going to vote for Star Wars Outlaws because it's my most anticipated game out of this group. Content Creator of the Year. I'm familiar with Cypher. He always seems nice. Gonna vote for him. Best esports game. You guys were saying nobody likes Counter-Strike 2. Won't it just win out of sheer popularity, though? Valorant might win. I mean, I've seen some pretty good clips of Valorant lately. People seem to really be digging it. Counter or Valo? I mean, I liked Valorant back in the day when we played it. You're picking CS2? I'm just going to pick my prediction. I think the overwhelming popularity of Counter-Strike, I think it runs away with this one. Halo snubbed again. That's a prediction vote. I think CS2 wins that one. Best esports athlete. I don't know. I can't make a prediction here. If I did it based off of the game, the guy playing Call of Duty probably stands to win because more people watch and pay attention to that, maybe? I don't know. League globally, though, probably potentially outweighs it as far as, like, I don't know. I'm going to skip this category. I'm not going to vote in these categories because I don't have any way to make a judgment call. Okay. Yeah, that's the end. I won't vote. We can go back through my votes now. We stand Baker in this house. I don't know who Baker is. Okay. You can hover over them if you don't want to load the thing every time. Oh, for my votes. Yeah, but I like seeing the other nominees. Armored Core should be up there over Resident Evil 4. Final Fantasy 16 should have been up there. No, this is the right 6. This was the 6 I predicted based off of scores. You and I had the exact same 6 nominees. I mean, I'm not some wizard. We looked at the scores and we made I was trying to tell people that. And obviously, none of this gets it all gets clipped out of context. That's the world we live in now, right? My wife was telling me about some woman on Instagram where her haters do the same thing. They just clip her out of context all the time, right? But I tried to tell people back then when I was making my predictions, I said, I'm basing this off of the jury process. I don't need to play these games to understand how the voting process works. Look at the general commercial and critical reception and say, this is where everything's gonna land. Do you know what I'm saying? Like none of this was hard. It's only hard for people who have bought into this idea that there is some kind of a bias or conspiracy against a company who hasn't had any banger games for 20 years. Like, I grew up cheering for the Cleveland Browns. There's no media bias against the Cleveland Browns back then. They sucked and lost all the time. You shouldn't vote if you can't have a say. You wouldn't vote on an election for who you think will win. I mean, the last time I cared what you thought about what I did, Cliffo, was never, so I appreciate your input, though. I'm glad we didn't make that Browns wager. I'm also glad there was no NFL football this weekend. Hogwarts scored in the low 80s. That's what I'm saying. Like, I tried to tell people, I was like, this is your 6. This is your 6. Because you have to remember, 120 global outlets are going to vote on this. And they're going to vote based on how they scored things. So all you have to do is look at the aggregate scores across the industry and say, yeah, these are probably the 6 most likely to get nominated. Hogwarts didn't stand a chance. It was below. I had 6 honorable mentions that also deserved to be up here. Like, Final Fantasy 16 deserved to be up here over Hogwarts, just based on scores alone. Again, I'm not saying that what Hogwarts got as a score is deserved. I'm saying it wasn't hard to make the prediction. It wasn't hard. All you had to do was look at what the general consensus globally was, and it's like, well, that's how people are going to vote. Did the backlash affect the score? I don't know. Listen, I played Hogwarts, bro. I put in close to 40 hours in Hogwarts. Somebody's like, well, you didn't finish the story. I don't need to finish the story to know the quality of the game. What, have you ever played a game that was like an 8 out of 10 game, and then you ran the last like 3 or 4 missions, and you're like, well, it's a 10 now. Like, that's just ignorant. I literally sat next to my wife and saw the final story missions. I saw how the story played out. It wouldn't have changed my score at all. It was a good game. It was an 8 out of 10. It was super creative. They really honored the castle and the lore and the world of Harry Potter. But it wasn't better than any of the titles up there right now. Hogwarts wasn't better than anything up there. Not even close, dude. And there were other games that ranked higher. You got to finish the game to fully get a grasp of the story from start to finish, in fairness. Me holding the controller as the final 3 missions that I didn't play. I got really close to the end, and I had to start playing other games because my schedule is limited. Me holding the controller instead of my wife isn't going to change my opinion of the story. The combat did not dramatically change. She was doing the same style combat and the same style fights from the entire beginning of the game. Do you know what was different? The cutscenes were different. That was the only thing that was different. Nothing dramatically changed at the end of Hogwarts Legacy. It wouldn't have changed my opinion. Oh yeah, I held the controller when I went, for those final missions of Hogwarts. My opinion's completely changed now. It was every time you've played a game to that point, the content loop is not going to dramatically change at the end. You're finishing out final story missions. The boss fights were the same. She went in the same areas that I had been in every time. The boss fights were copy-paste. They didn't change anything dramatically at the end. Why not Street Fighter 6? Well, based on score alone, Street Fighter 6 could have ended up here. But you have to remember the jury process. Global outlets are going to not vote for fighting games and racing games for Game of the Year. They just typically don't do that. Does that make sense? I'm not saying they don't deserve to be up there. I'm just saying that's how the outlets typically vote. parry system, different bosses and patterns. That's not true. I watched my wife play the end, bro. It was the same set piece, same boss fight, same animations. I literally told her what to do in the fights because I had done so many of them. They weren't different, bro. The story changes depending on what house you're in and hit the atmosphere better than any game that got on the list. The changes at the end are minor depending on the house you're in. There's nothing major that happens. You get the same ending. There are not like multiple endings. You get like different dialogue lines, but the outcome doesn't change. It's not like you can save somebody instead of them not making it or something. Yeah, Alan Wake 2 came in at the buzzer and is up here for so many. So many nominations. They're up there for, I mean, how many categories? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think they're in every category that they could be nominated for. I really do. I think they're in every category. They got 8 noms. Yeah, I think if it's a category that Alan Wake could be nominated for, it's in there. Like, you can't nominate them for like an esports game. Alan Wake 2 has as many nominations as Baldur's Gate 3. Wow. All right, I'm going to roll back through the nominations and my votes one more time. Can you guys all smash the like button if you have not yet done that? We had well over 1,000 viewers. Thank you for an amazing turnout. I can't wait to cover this event live when it finally happens. We're going to be going, we'll be going to a members-only debrief shortly. It'll be a short debrief because we did get a lot of members today. If you guys want to push it to 75, I currently have already gifted you the 10 that I owe. If you hit 75, I got to gift another 5. At the end of these streams, we really like to do that. We like to push a bunch of members into the new content and into the new stuff. If you guys want to push that, go ahead. 3,500 members, and I got to do a steak with ketchup. We did that once before. You guys want to make me do it again? I haven't done that in a long time. So, if you can't do a membership, man, smash like, hit subscribe, talk in the chat. Those are all things that support me for free, but they help you out because you increase your likelihood of getting a gifted member. And there, one gifted comes in from Patrick Q, always gifting members, so generous. Thank you so much, Patrick. We had a lot of fun on Friday night, too, some of you guys that were there. Okay, so Game of the Year, you can see here the nominations. I think Baldur's Gate 3 will win. I voted for Spider-Man because it's my personal Game of the Year. I have played all of these games, not to completion, but I have played all of these games. I think they're all deserving. If I wish I had more time. I'm busy. I got 2 kids. I'm married. My evenings I don't have time to play games like this to completion. It's really difficult for me. Like, I have to carve out time in the evenings, and that means I'm not doing other things. So, Best Game Direction, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game design, direction and design. So, Best Game Direction, I actually think Alan Wake 2 will win this. I think Alan Wake 2 will win this category. Elden Ring won this category last year and then stole Game of the Year. Well, not stole, but you know. Nobody was sure what was going to happen last year. When is it starting? Oh, the live event's not until December. All right, best narrative. This is a tough one. I think every single one of these is deserving. I actually think of the ones that are up here, Spider-Man might be the one that I thought was good. It had really, really great moments, but it had other moments that I didn't like as much. Some of the interaction between Spider-Man and MJ I thought wasn't that great. I actually agreed with Angry Joe that Spider-Man needs to be a little bit funnier. Doc is triggered that RE4 made it, but not Starfield. Well, even if Resident Evil wouldn't have made it, Starfield would not have made it. Starfield would not have made it. There were way too many games this year that hit high levels of quality. Starfield ranks so low compared to all of them. Something else would have taken Resident Evil's place. Sorry. In the realm of story, I actually do think that Final Fantasy 16 can win this. But I actually could see Alan Wake taking it. I could see Alan Wake taking this one. From everything we've seen and heard. Art direction. I see this one going to Liza P. I'm honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Remake should qualify for Game of the Year. I could be compelled that Remake shouldn't be up there. I could be compelled. That doesn't mean Starfield would have been up there. Yeah, they're talking about a different person though, creature. I could be compelled that a remake shouldn't be up there. Doesn't really matter. Starfield wouldn't have been up there anyway. Yeah, I mean, did anybody get upset when Resident Evil 2 Remake got nominated? You know what I mean? You know? This guy's saying, please look. He had a salty Game Awards tweet. I like Doc. He's, you know, he's gonna argue from his position and his side. And listen, I told you guys that it was an unfalsifiable position. If Starfield got nominated, they'd all be like, see, it's deserving. It deserves to be up there. When it doesn't get nominated, they just retreat to media bias. They'll retreat to some weird convoluted argument about media bias and Resident Evil doesn't deserve to be up there. Right? We're going to ignore the fact that here, I'll give you my honorable mentions right now. Because I want to have this list at the ready. All right? We're going to ignore the fact that Sea of Stars, Final Fantasy 16, Street Fighter 6, Diablo 4, Hi-Fi Rush, and Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 all scored better than Starfield. All 6 of those games, all 6 of those games scored better than Starfield. And also, all of the games I just listed have more nominations than Starfield. Hi-Fi Rush and Diablo 4 and Pikmin 4 and Final Fantasy 16 and Street Fighter 6, maybe not Sea of Stars. I think all 6 of those games have more nominations than Starfield. So cut the crap. Starfield wouldn't have been up there. It wouldn't have been. Like, I hate the word coping, but, like, it's a massive amount of cope to think that Starfield somehow got snubbed when that many games scored higher than it. And not only did they score higher than it, they had more nominations than it did. There were 12 games standing in the way of Starfield even being considered for Game of the Year. Like, there is no media bias. That's not what led to this. What led to this is the global aggregate scores doing their job. That's what happened. I got to move through this, and we got to get to members. I think Final Fantasy takes score and music. Anybody could win this category, really. Anybody could win this category, honestly. I voted for Ben. Once again, anybody could probably win this category. Same for here. Best ongoing, I voted for Fortnite because the player surge they got from the OG map. Best community support, I think this goes to Baldur's Gate 3. It's an insult that Destiny's up there. We already established that. I voted for Best Independent Game. I voted for Viewfinder. It will likely go to Sea of Stars. Viewfinder is also up here for Best Debut. So, I voted for Synapse because I wanted to win, but this VR game will go to Resident Evil Village more than likely. Best action game, that's going to go to Armored Core, we're pretty sure. Best action adventure, it's probably going to go to Zelda, but I voted for Spider-Man. Best RPG, Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars has more nominations than Starfield, so all is right with the world. Pikmin 4, Sea of Stars, Diablo 4, Hi-Fi Rush, Final Fantasy 16, all those games not only scored higher, but have more nominations than Starfield. Starfield had no business being up on Game of the Year. No business at all. Best fighting, not sure who's going to win that. Best family is definitely going to go to Mario. A reminder that your quality of work does not matter. In the end, you're just a number, adds to resume. Cheers to studios who send their community teams to award shows when nominated for community-specific awards. Kudos to those that don't reprimand their community team for celebrating upon a W. Former Bungie employees, man. They just out here unraveling. That's Best Sim Strategy, Best Sports. I think Crew might win that. Best Multiplayer, I think, is going to go to Mario. Best Adaptation, going to go to Mario or The Last of Us. Most anticipated is probably going to go to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Hades might steal it, but I think Final Fantasy's just got a longer standing amount of people voting for it. And then I voted for Star Wars because that's my own personal. So, okay. Let me schedule members. If you guys want to quickly try to do Operation Joystick and bring a bunch of people with us, feel free. Let me get this scheduled. Okay. Game Award nominees debrief. No Black Myth for most anticipated? No. I think the problem, it has to be like officially... Well, no, it has been officially announced. Never mind. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Guys, what a stellar day for the channel. Stellar turnout. So many likes, so many new subscribers, so many viewers. Give me a brief second. I'm going to run upstairs and use the restroom before we switch gears. I don't like switching to members and then having to immediately leave. It's better to do it here at the end. So I'll be right back. All right. Okay. Let me get you guys a link here so we can go to the members stream. If you want to come to these streams, you got to be a member or get a gifted member. Great way to support me directly. Also, a great way to get one is to be here as often as you can. Hitting the like button, hitting subscribe, and all of the things. Hang on, YouTube's being crummy. Well, let me start. Hello? Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to put a link in chat. If you're a member, you can come with us. We're going to debrief on everything. Jez is upset that Diablo's not nominated for Best Art Direction. What? Because of what? The cinematics? That's not what art direction is about. Hang on a minute before we leave. Best Art Direction. Diablo is better than 90% of those. Outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Yeah, cinematics aren't enough to win you that award. Sorry. All right, there's the link in chat. That's where we're headed. Thanks so much for being a member. Maybe you got a gifted member recently and you're like, hey, why is this in my feed? Well, you're a member of Reforge Gaming now. If you want to continue that membership, pick it up yourself after a month. If you like all this extra content, you can also upgrade. For $1, you can upgrade to the Writer's Room and join us at the end of the day to write out and plan out the next day's shows and uploads. We're going to be doing a debrief on the Game Award nominations and our predictions and everything else. So, thank you guys so much for being members. I'm going to end the previous stream and bring everybody over. I'm sure tomorrow is going to center on and focus on, well,